Okay. Hi everyone. Thank you so much for coming today. Hi Alex. Hi everyone. Thank you for coming. So today, sorry for the late start again. Just like every time I try to start the live stream, like when I go into the live like panel thing, it's always like, oh, like your webcam's disconnected, or like something's not connecting, or it's like there's always some kind of problem. So it's like, I don't know. I'll try to fix it more in the future. But anyway, thank you for being patient with me. Hi, Raisan, welcome. So for today, I have to have a little shorter stream today as well. Maybe it's better if they're just shorter in general. I'm not sure, but the thing is that like tomorrow is the day before the monthly ceremony on June 1st, so we're gonna have to do a lot of preparations for the monthly ceremony. And just really quick, like I know I always say like preparations for the ceremony. And oh, hi, William-san, welcome. Thank you so much for coming. I always say like preparations for the ceremony, and you might wonder like why do you need like a whole day to prepare for the ceremony? And that's a good question. But basically, so there's a few things we have to do. So the biggest thing in preparations is to go shopping for offerings. So every month, the worshippers give like offering during the monthly ceremony, and then with that offering money, we buy offerings for the next monthly ceremony. And it doesn't take a whole day, but we have to go early in the morning, and we have to like pick out, like it takes time because we have to pick out like the best fruits, the best vegetables. We have to think about how we're gonna arrange them in the offering, so it can take like maybe like 2 or 3 hours. So it takes a lot of time. Hi Alex, welcome. And yeah, so it takes a lot of time to do offering shoppings, and then we come back and then we have to put them away, and then we have to prepare them. So it's not like we just like put them up simply on the offering plate. We have to like we have to like make sure all of the offerings are very clean and ready for kamisama. So we have to like wash them all and wipe them down, and like it's a whole thing. And then so that's like the main part, but we also have to prepare for the main prayer, which usually I don't do that, but like Masfumi Sensei will prepare for the main prayer for the ceremony. And it takes a bit of time because like every ceremony might have a different prayer, or like it has to be printed out again, especially for the Mitama ceremony. So it takes a bit of time to prepare for that as well. And on top of that, there's like all the daily work that's happening. So like there might be people coming for Toritsugi, or there might be people coming for like a prayer service, or there might be people calling, or even just like incidents that come up that we didn't expect. Like maybe the neighbor comes over and like asks us for something, or I don't know, like it something always happens. So anyway, like there's so many different tasks to do on top of the daily tasks that it ends up like taking, like we need like a day at least to prepare everything properly. Oh, and also we have to like deep clean the hiromai. So like we have to sweep the whole hiromai. We have to vacuum. We take down all the altar furniture and like we clean it up, and then we put it back. So it's like there's a lot. That takes a lot of time too. Maybe like 3 or 4 hours, and then like in between that, we have to have like breakfast, lunch, dinner. Prepare the meals, clean up after. On top of the normal housework. So it's just like it's not like a lot to prepare for, but all of the extra preparations on top of the daily tasks, it ends up like taking a whole day to like really get everything set up. And then the morning of the ceremony, I just set up the offerings and then like set the altar, and it only takes like about an hour, but because of all the preparations done the day before, and like so that's kind of what it happens. And for like grand ceremonies, it takes about like 2 days, because like one day is like cleaning up the whole shrine, just like taking down all the furniture, like wiping everything down, and then offering shopping. And then the second day is like setting up the whole shrine, setting up the offerings. And then the third day, which is the ceremony day, it's like, making sure everything's clean, making sure everything's set up, like one last check, setting up the laptop for the live stream, cleaning the Genkan, the entrance of the house, and the shrine, and then preparing for your shozoku, like ceremony clothes. So it takes like a lot of time to do all that stuff. And then of course you don't want to rush either, because if you rush, like there can be room for more mistakes, or like you miss something. And it's really important not to, like, for kami-sama to do everything like really perfectly as possible. So giving yourself time to prepare helps with that. So that's a little brief explanation. Anyways, but sorry, that was I don't know if that it was a good explanation, but it's kind of like I struggle to explain it, because it's not always like so simple, like step one, step two. Like there's always something happening that can like happen like randomly. That's something makes it more difficult to prepare, or like something comes up, or like I remember one time we were preparing for a monthly ceremony, and and I dropped like a tomato. Or no, sorry, I didn't. I First of all, I dropped the tomato, and I broke like one of the. It was like a root vegetable. I forgot the name, but I broke it, and I had to go all the way down to the store and like buy new ones, because I couldn't use them in the offering anymore. And that took like a whole like 2 hours to like do all that. So that was like an example of like a random thing that like something comes up and you have to deal with it, and then it cuts into the preparation time. So you're like stressing out. So yeah, but thank you. I'm glad it made sense with you, San and Alex. But yeah, it's like on paper it's not hard, but like in reality it's like something always comes up. So it's good to give yourself time to prepare for the ceremony, and even just like prepare your heart for it, because you don't want to go into the ceremony like stressed out. Like when you start a monthly ceremony or a grand ceremony, especially for kami-sama, like you don't want to go into it like stressing, like anxiety, like rushing. You want to go into the ceremony with a calm heart and like relaxed. And like when you're like, for me, when I first started doing ceremonies, of course I was nervous. Like I was really like, I would get anxiety and fear that like, oh, I'm gonna mess up and all these problems will happen. And that's normal. But like if you're used to it already and you know what you have to do in the ceremony, um, then it's important to just like, it's important to have like a calm heart and just approach kami-sama like I know what to do. I have to fulfill this duty, and I'm not gonna let like stress or negativity kind of cloud my feelings to the ceremony. So that's also really important. And like I know some other priests, they do this thing called like a kesai period, which is like you kind of just cut out like all distractions before a ceremony as well. So like no TV, no cell phone, no social media, of course. No, nothing, like no, not even books or anything. Just like focusing on kami-sama before the ceremony, and even like the meals you eat, like don't eat anything really heavy. Or some of them say like don't eat meat during the kesai period. And that's not really like, it's not really like meat is like taboo or like impure. I mean, maybe some shrines say that, but it's also for a practical reason. Because you don't want to like have a situation where you like, okay, I'm going to be realistic, like you don't want to have a situation where before the ceremony you're having like stomach aches and like digestion issues. You want to have like, your stomach is calm as well. So it makes sense to not eat heavier foods, or like raw, or like meat, like red meat, or like greasy foods or oily foods before the ceremony. So that's also like something that some priests observe. Here, honestly, we don't really pay any particular attention to that. Um, for me personally, I kind of do like a kesai period, but not like very strict. I just be mindful to kami-sama before the ceremony, and like limit myself, and like I might eat like red meat, like a steak or something, or like pork, but I won't eat like a lot of food or like a lot of oily food, because I know it's gonna make my stomach upset. But there's things like that. So yeah, I don't know. Abadium-san says, people do that in Konko Kyo. Isn't that too radical from Kyoso-sama's viewpoint? Yeah, like I feel like Kyoso-sama wouldn't like say we have to do that. But I know some priests like still have that like traditional mindset. So they like to do it. But it's not like we have to do it in Konko Kyo, but like some other priests like to do it. Actually, at Shiba Kyokai, it's not the same, but before the grand ceremony, we have like a little cup of water for like purification. It's kind of similar to like kind of like refresh your heart to Kamisama, but it's more like it feels more like moderate version of that, like because you just take a little cup of water and it like refreshes you, and that makes sense. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think we have to like. I don't think you have to like really like cut out all like meat food, like restrict your food or restrict your media or things like that. I don't think like personally speaking, like I'm okay. Like I don't need to do that because like I don't know, it makes me feel like I don't know, it doesn't really make a big huge difference for me because like either way, like before the monthly ceremony, I'm focusing on Kami-sama, and whether or not I watch TV or not, like that doesn't change that for me. So yeah. But for other priests, like they prefer like to have that. So it just depends. But it's not like a requirement in Kongo Kyo. Like you don't have to do that. Um yeah. I know some priests who like they just drank sake like the night before the ceremony. So it's like, they like had yakiniku and like, they like eat meat and like drink before the ceremony. So there's those priests like that too. So it all just depends on the person. So in Konko Faith. Other shrines are more strict and stuff. Like they have their different traditions, but yeah, for Kongo Faith you don't have to worry too much. So yeah. Alex says, I actually do something similar with the cold readings. As when I started, Monday was the end of my week, so I would have takeaway and I'd feel bad during preparation. Oh no. Yeah, it's good to avoid like heavy stuff. Like again, like just like realistically speaking, because yeah, like if we eat heavy food, we need like time to digest the food, and especially if you're nervous before the ceremony, it's gonna make your like gut, your intestines like weak. I don't know, you know what I mean? So yeah, you have to be like careful, like how we like what's good for what you, because like everyone knows their body best, right? So everyone has different tolerance, everyone has different levels. So whatever is the best routine that that's gonna make you like your body's gonna like be okay with that, it's best. Because yeah, I mean that's why like even for me, like before ceremonies I don't drink a lot of water because I know I'm gonna have to go to the bathroom. So I just like I try not to drink as much water as possible, like just and not eat as much because I know like my body's gonna be like, let's go to the bathroom. Like I'm in the middle of a ceremony, you can't go to the bathroom right now. That's gonna be a situation. So yeah, we have to keep that in mind and stuff. So yeah, Vadim says Konko is low cortisol. Yes, exactly. Oh my gosh. But yeah, that's something definitely to keep in mind because like if you think about it, like when you're doing the ceremony, you can't like just get up and go to the bathroom. You have to stay where you are. And the other thing is that like oh no, I was gonna say something, I forgot. I don't remember. But yeah, it's like, oh right, sorry. And when you're wearing shozoku, like when you're wearing the outfit, that's not easy to go to the bathroom in. So you need to consider that too. So like even before like we change to do the ceremony, we like just use the bathroom. Even if we don't feel like we have to go, we just use it and then change, and then so you don't feel like, oh my god, I have to go and I'm in this whole outfit and it's a situation. So yeah. So this might be like a very like direct conversation, but I think it's good to talk about because people might be curious, like, do you do anything special to like to perform the ceremony and like things like that? But no, just like general thinking about your own body and stuff. So like for me, like my body really doesn't do well with like like fibers, like fiber vegetables. And I know like fiber is good for you, and I try to get my fiber, but like I don't know, like my stomach just gets really upset. So I just make sure not to eat anything like with a lot of fiber, like beans or like spinach or I don't know what else has fiber. Like really like really fibrous vegetables. I just save it for after the ceremony because otherwise it's like I'll feel like sick and like nauseous and all that stuff, and you don't want to go through that. And just really quick, you might be wondering like, what do we do when you're like sick, or if there's like a giant like spider around the altar, or there's like a mosquito. Basically, you just have to gaman. Like you just have to endure it. So like in minister training, they teach you like if there's something going on like around you and it's like uncomfortable, you just have to lock in. You just have to lock in and endure it, and you have to like do your best to finish the ceremony, even if there's like craziness going on. So like for me, I think I've done ceremonies where like it's like boiling hot, I'm sweating, I'm dizzy, I feel nauseous, but like I don't know, I can't explain it, but I feel like kamisama helps you in the ceremony. Like kamisama kind of gives you like a buff, like a power up or something, just enough to finish the ceremony. And it's also very like mental, like you just have to like focus so much that your symptoms kind of go away. But like once you're done the ceremony, the pressure is off, and then you kind of like just collapse. So that also is a factor when performing ceremonies, or like even in seminary school. You just had to kind of like you had to like focus and just like feel like you're kind of like military mode. Like you have to like do it. You have to do it. You have to do your duty, and just for this like one time, and then you will be okay. But it was like there's been so many situations where it's like one time I was doing a ceremony and there was like a mosquito flying around and it kept biting me like everywhere, and I was itchy, and it was like, and I wanted to do this, like I wanted to swat it away, like even just like subconsciously, and it took like everything in me not to move my body and to just like focus on the prayers. um I don't know, I think that was a kamisama trial because it was like crazy. I'm like in my head I was like, the mosquito already bit me, why is it still biting me? Like it doesn't already have blood? But it was like it was so crazy. um and then one time, like in this Hiromai, there was like a huge like huntsman spider, and I was doing gokito, like gokinen, like prayers, and then the spider was like right near me, and naturally like I wanted to like run and like leave, but I had to like lock in and like just like endure the spider there, because I knew like I just had to do it, right? So yeah, that's like part of the training, that's part of the training. Like even when you are like doing ceremonies or doing norito or things like that, you have to like focus and just do the thing, and that's that. The only time I've ever seen a situation happen, and like knock on wood, because like it's like crazy when it happens. Um, I was doing a grand ceremony for like one of the other shrines. Oh, this was a long time ago, like 2015. And one of the priests, the head priest, he suddenly had to use the washroom, but he was like elderly, so like everyone kind of understood. But it was also like very shocking because like all of a sudden he was reading the Norito, and then he had to stop, and then he like got up and he went out of the room so suddenly. And I thought like something happened. Like I thought he got like a message, but it turns out he just had to go to the bathroom. But I was like, oh, that's okay though. Like everyone understood. Like it wasn't a like again, like if it's something happens, it's not like the end of the world. Um, but I felt so bad because you could see like he was like I had no idea he was even like that like level that he had to leave that fast, because he was so focused on reading the prayer, and like it was so solemn and quiet, And like there was no hint of him like struggling, but then he just had to go. And that's why we were shocked, because like there was no like sign that he was uncomfortable, but like deep down he was uncomfortable. So I was like, oh my gosh. But thankfully like he went and then he came back and it was fine. Like no one said anything, or it wasn't a big deal. And like obviously we're human, like it makes sense, right? um but I was like kind of moved, because even though he was in like that dire situation, he was like so focused that like nobody could tell. So I was like I have to be that level too, you know. And he was elderly too. Like he was like, at that time he was like 85, like almost 90, and he was sitting seiza, and he got up from sitting seiza and he ran. I don't even know how he did that. Like it was like amazing, because like he had the focus, and like he stayed calm, like his voice wasn't shaking at all, like nothing. And then like he just went and came back, and it was like, it was kind of like, it wasn't like a disturbance either, like he didn't like cause any trouble, or like, you know what I mean, like he wasn't like, I have to go, like he didn't say anything, he just left silently. So it was like that level of control, even though it was like a crazy situation. That I was like, well, like that's like real training, you know. So I was really impressed by that and like moved by that. And then I want to embody that too. So, but yeah, it's like human body struggles. Alex says, when I read Norito, I always feel nervous and my mind can wander off, but it feels like Kami-sama whacks the top of my head to focus. Then after, I need a 20-minute power nap because I'll be exhausted. Ah, yes, that's very common actually. It's very common. Um, a lot of people say like they feel guilty because their mind wanders off during Norito, but that's like completely normal. Like it happens so much. Um, so like for example, there's a teaching in the Kyoten. It goes kind of like someone was asking Konko Daijin sama like, what do I do? Because every time I pray, my mind goes like into all sorts of different directions. And you know, like because someone just said like, oh my gosh, I'm pretty sure he says like, just to, you know, like just like, even though that happens, just like bring yourself back down and like focus on Kami-sama, and like just keep training yourself to do that, because that happened to me really early on. Like I would be chanting, because chanting Norito is like, you know, it can kind of be like a habit. Excuse me, it's not really like talking, right? So when I started to memorize the prayers, my mind would wander, because I would already know how to say the prayer, and I'd be like thinking about like, am I chanting loud enough? Like, is it good? Da, da, da. Like, so many like silly thoughts, like baseless thoughts. But I remember that teaching, and I'm like, no, okay, like bring it down, focus. Like you said, like Kami-sama walk, like boom, like reminds you to focus back on Kami-sama and the prayer. And you just have to keep training your brain to refocus. And it just takes time and it takes practice, but you'll get the hang of it eventually. It's just normal to go through that phase. It's just because of the way, like I think I personally feel, because of the way the brain works. It does that like naturally, but it's just a matter of like training to overcome that. So it's really good that you're training it now by reciting Norito each time, especially like doing it for the other like the other group members, because then it helps you practice for the future as well. So yeah. And then yeah, definitely needing a nap after the ceremony is so real, because like I every time after the monthly ceremony, I'm so tired. Like I need to sleep. Like I just pass out. But then I'm like, am I okay? Because I thought I had like some kind of disease or something was wrong with me. But because I was like, all I'm doing is just sitting down and reading. Like there's like nothing physically exhausting is happening. And I'm not even like anxious or like high emotion or anything, but I need to like sleep. And I don't know, like it's for a lot of people who like come to the ceremony or even the officiants. A lot of people get sleepy after. And I think it's just because of like the energy. I don't know. I don't actually know, but it's a common thing as well. It's not like a problem you have or anything. It's just a common thing that can happen in front of Kami-sama during the ceremony. Like it just takes so much energy, and then so you have to like sleep and like regain the energy. I'm not sure why, but it's like very common. So yeah. Vadim says, but how do you use bathroom in Shozuku? Yes. So that's a good question. But there's two ways, honestly speaking. They're not comfortable, but you can do it. So like there's a hakama. So there's two types of hakama. There's the hakama that's like a skirt. It's just like open skirt type. And then there's a type that's like pants, like you that they have like, oh my god, here, let me draw this because I'm bad at explaining. But basically, like with the skirt hakama, you can just like lift up the hakama and like sit on the toilet and use the bathroom. But the other one, the pants type, like so, like this is just skirt, and there's like I'll just put the legs here. So, and then this is kind of like yeah, I think that's good. Sorry, this is really ugly, but you can see this here. The skirt type is just like legs there, and then the pant type is like split. Yeah, using the bathroom in this one is easy because yeah, you just like and then you go to the bathroom. This one is difficult. This one, the pants, because you have to do the whole thing and as if it's like jeans or like pants, Western pants you're wearing. You have to like do the whole thing, but it's like a nightmare because like you don't want to get anything dirty and the bathroom floor is not really clean all the time. I mean, at our house it is, but like if you're in a public place, it's like a disaster. And like you have to like and you're like in a narrow space, and it's like very like sweaty, and like there's so much like it's like exhausting. So it's like possible, but it's just like a big situation because you're like flying around. You're trying to like hold up the sleeves so you're not like touching anything in the washroom, and you gotta like figure out how to like make sure nothing touches the ground, and you have to like undo all of your knots, and it's just a big headache. So it's possible, but it's better to avoid it if you can. Um, and for that reason, I prefer the skirt type because, like, just in case like anything happens, you know, it's easier. And and you're wearing a lot of layers anyway. Like I wear like maybe 5 layers like under the shozaku. So it's not like a situation where like if anything happened, you're covered all the time in kimono, so it's not like a big deal. Um, yeah. The only problem is like to tie the like hold on, like to tie the knot for the hakama, it like the first time has to be like really good so it doesn't like fall down. Um, but that's the problem because when you're like rushing in the washroom and then you try to retie it, it might not be super like proper like the way that you did the first time. So that also can cause situations because someone didn't tie it enough, and then it's like the hakama is like falling down and it's like loose and it's causing all sorts of problems. So it's better to avoid that entirely. Oh my god! But I've seen it some situations where like I think one of the Kibimai dancers at Toronto, she had to use the washroom, and she went to the washroom, but then she came back and like the problem was like the back of her hakama was kind of like slipping during the dance, and it didn't. Everything was fine, thank Kami-sama. But like I could see like the stress in her face, and it's like, oh no, like oh my god. So yeah, it's important to be careful with like Japanese traditional clothing because it's like a lot of like it's a lot of tying ribbons. So it's that's something you have to learn as well when you like come to Japan or like train in gakuin or become a priest or anything like that, like a minister. Like learning how to navigate kimono and stuff is a whole thing. Even for people born and raised here, because not everyone wears kimono, so it's like a learning curve for everybody. So that's something it's good to practice with as well. Yeah, I remember in Gakuin, so many malfunctions with my. Sorry, I think there's a fly. So many malfunctions with my kokui. I was like, because it was my first time, and I was like, whoa, like I don't know how to wear this properly. So it was funny though. But yeah. Alex says, that's certainly the exact same thoughts. Can people hear me? Am I reading it right? Etc. Etc. Ah, yes, yes, yes. Yeah, I had those thoughts all the time when I was back in the day. I was always worried about like how I was chanting Norito or like how I sounded or how I looked, and I was like, because I'm very self conscious, especially when I was starting out. So I was like, oh my god, like everything's bad. But Kami-san was like, it's okay, just focus on the prayer. That's the most important thing. And most of the time, everyone else is focusing on the prayer as well. So you don't have to worry too much about like anything like that. And the thing is, if there's someone who's focusing or like judging your prayers or things like that, that is on them. Like they should be focusing on Kami-sama as well. Um, like if for them to think about how you're praying or how you look, instead of focusing on Kami-sama during prayer, that is also not good. So don't worry about it too much. Um, so yeah, it's like you don't have to worry about those things. Just like wanting to do your best for Kami-sama is good, but like don't worry about it. You naturally get better in time. The more you practice, it gets better more. I remember during Gakuin, like seminary school, we would do prayer every single day, in the morning, the afternoon, and the nighttime. And I remember like during it was called Gokinen. During Gokinen, the sometimes the person doing the main prayer, he would have like he or she would have a particular way of praying. And maybe they might start and stop, or they might like have a different intonation, or all sorts of different types of ways of praying, right? And that was completely normal. But I remember some of my classmates, I could hear them, and they were like talking during the Gokin, and they were whispering, and they were saying like, "Now this sensei is saying it's so weird. Like, why are they saying it like that?" And they were kind of like gossiping. And I was like, and I got distracted because I was hearing them, and I was like, oh my god, are they like? I was like, am I hearing this right? Because they were talking in Japanese. And then later, like after the Gokinan, the sensei of our class, like of that time, like because after Gokinan we go to the classrooms, and the sensei in that classroom, because they're always like observing the students. It's not just like what you write down or like what you like how you pray or something like that. Like they're watching your like attitude and how you like behave, like basically like they're watching like your whole person, not just the ritual things or the knowledge. So the sensei noticed, like I did, that they were whispering during the prayer, and that's when the sensei said like, like what do you he said like, you are saying the main prayer leader should be this way or that way, but you yourselves are not praying at all. You're gossiping about him. And he was like, how do you think that makes Kami-sama feel? Like, Kami-sama wants to hear your prayers. Kami-sama doesn't want to hear your gossip about someone praying sincerely. So, in the future, try to like focus on your own prayers, and don't mind about what's happening around you. Just focus on Kami-sama and your prayers. And of course, like it's not good to gossip like that to behind people's back, and especially not during prayer. And they were like their faces turned so red. But yeah, it was like of course, like don't do that, but it's okay. Like they learned after that, so it was good. They had to be called out because I mean, it's kind of like interesting because it is kind of like normal social behavior to like say like, oh, like this person's not really doing it this way, you know. But it's like, you know, it's like no, it's like if you're gonna be a minister, you got to take it to the next level. You know, you can't be saying this during the prayers when you should be focusing on the prayers. You know, so the sensei was right to call them out. And kind of put it on the table like you did this, it's not the greatest thing you did, but you know, we move forward and we learn from it and we don't repeat it. And then after that too, they were like genuinely trying to be serious and like pray to Kami-sama. So yeah, and then for me, when I saw that whole situation go down, it was like, you know, it made me realize like, you know, even if someone is whispering about me behind my back, um you know, that's on them, between them and Kami-sama. It's not, has nothing to do with me. I just have to focus on Kami-sama and pray to Kami-sama, you know. So it's like that situation. But yeah, so you don't have to worry, just keep practicing. Hi Lupin, welcome, thank you so much for coming today too. Hello. Hi. Lupin says gotta work on Ishin. Yes, you gotta work on Ishin, single heart. Exactly. Because there was like so many times, so many times. I think Gakuin was very interesting because you kind of saw the development from people from like the normal people level, you know, just like very casual. You know, Konko Kyo is part of their lives, but it's not like very like deeper. Even though they were trained to be ministers, but you know, it's just, it was like that. I mean, there were some people who were like very like real, like they were serious, you know, but a lot of other people at Gakuin were just like coming to inherit the kyokai, like the shrine that they came from. So there was a lot of people who just came to like inherit, and they didn't take anything really seriously until they spent more time there, and then they started to realize you know, what it really means to have faith in Kami-sama, and what it really means to practice prayer, and the meaning of Toritsugi and all these things. So they kind of started to grow over time, and I was like, okay, that's good. And you know, even for me, like I was bullied in Gakuin. Like people would bully me. And what I mean by that is like, you know, they would make fun of like, I don't know, they would make fun of the way I dressed, like, you know, because I kind of like on off days we didn't have to wear the kokui, so you know, I would wear my like frilly dresses, or something like that, and they would like make fun of me, like, oh, like what are you wearing, etc. Or like if I didn't know how to say something in Japanese, like they would make fun of me for that, or like this sounds so bad, but it's true, right? um or like, you know, just anything. They make fun of me for like not understanding like a social cue or something like that, like, you know, things like that. And it kind of hurt me at the time, and I was actually really angry, because I was like, how do you call yourself Konko but you're like bullying, but you're bullying people, right? Like it wasn't even about me, but it was like, how is someone who is here to be a minister like treating others so badly, right? And having this kind of low like level attitude towards others. So that really bothered me. But then I don't know, I just kind of like like try to like I try to follow the teachings, you know, like, you know, even if someone throws mud on your face, like Kami-sama will wash your face. So, you know, don't try to like pick fights with someone, just like, you know, let them do what they do, and then Kami-sama will wash your face, and you know, that it is what it is. So I tried to follow that, and I also wanted to follow the teaching where, like, you know, you pray for someone to change their heart. So like, even if they're not doing the best things to you, you pray to Kami-sama for them to kind of change their heart and realize why doing that is not right. And I kind of had a bit of a crisis too, because I was like, why would I want to be Konko when there's like people like this in the faith and being ministers? And I was like really upset. But then I said to myself, like, well, if I don't try, then I'm excluding myself from Konko, and um, I want to be someone who can be a more positive figure as much as I can, like be the person who I wanted to see in Konko, you know, and I still want to be that person. I'm not there yet, but like I want to try to be that person who I want to see a part of the faith. So I was like, no, I can't give up because I have to be the person I want to see here. And even if there's like bullying happen or like the other students are not being really nice to me, um, well, I'm gonna be the student that I think should be the best kind of Gakuin student. Like I want to try to be that. And then show them like an example of how I think would be a good person in Gakuin, right? So I kind of approached it that way. And even if they said weird things to me, I would just smile and be like, yes, like it's okay, like just kind of be cheerful and like show them like what they're doing is like it doesn't affect me, but also like showing them in a way like why do they have to be this way, like there's no reason for them to have to act this way. So it was like a whole complicated thing. But and then I started to think too, like the reason people bully others is because deep down they have their own insecurities, they have their own social pressures, they have their own like social understanding that's kind of toxic. So I wanted to break that for them too. Like I wanted to try to show them like they don't have to keep following these like toxic kind of understanding of social interactions. Like there's no reason to be a bully. Especially not here in Konko Gakuin, like in Konko town, like so I mean being a bully is not good anywhere, but like of all places, this should be a place where you can realize especially that behavior is not acceptable. So that's what I kind of tried to do, but ultimately like it was okay. Like in the end, like I actually became friends with my bullies because first of all, like they were called out for their behavior many times by like the teachers and the other students. Like they were like, why are you doing this? This is not okay. And they were like that kind of embarrassment kind of got to them. But also that like I didn't try to like go against them or like inflame things. I just kept treating them the way I wanted to be treated. And like with that plus everything else and the environment, they started to like realize that how they were acting was not appropriate and like it wasn't okay. So they kind of like calmed down by the end of the end of the term of Gakuin, like around like 4 or 5 months, like middle of Gakuin, they kind of started to mellow out, and I was like, okay, that's good. But yeah, you'll find like all sorts of, people are people no matter where you are. So yeah, but yeah, it was an interesting experience. Lupin says, a couple of weeks back, I was having mediation via video call with Takeuchi sensei. He likes to begin and end things by reciting the Tenchika Kitsuke. And during our recitation, one of my cats jumped up onto my desk and started getting in my face. Oh no, I struggled to maintain Ishin that day. It's a really, oh, yes. I was like, yeah, yeah. See, I feel like Kami-sama, like, sometimes when you're praying, like, Kami-sama's like, situation happens where you might get distracted a bit. But it's not like you fail or like a trial or something. It's more like a way to build up your training. So like for me, it was like the mosquito or the spider or like a weird itch or something. Even if I got distracted a little bit, it doesn't mean like I failed. It just means like it's good practice to keep developing having Ishin because you're not gonna do it overnight. You have to take time and practice to develop it to get to a good level. That's like with anything in life. You need time and effort and practice to reach the level you want to reach. So, no one's going to get it like right away. So it's completely normal. Lupin says it's a really unfortunate thing that bullies are in every space. If people gather, there will inevitably be a bully. You make a great point that you'd be the one choosing to leave, not the bullies. I'm glad you made that realization and stuck with it through Gakuin. Oh, thank you so much. Yes, thank you. I mean, honestly, I feel like, Kami-sama helped me like realize that, for sure. Because I was having like crisis and I was praying to Kami-sama, like, Kami-sama, what do I do? And then Kami-sama was like, no, but if you leave, then it's the bullies are gonna be in Gakuin, and then you're gonna be out of Gakuin. So it's like, oh my god, true. And then that wouldn't be good, right? And then if I left too, maybe I don't know what will happen. Like, would they realize? Because like I was the main target of the bullying, because like I'm a foreigner and I wasn't born into Konkokyo, and I was like different in many ways, and I couldn't speak Japanese very well. Like I could speak it enough, but I wasn't like fluent, right? So yeah, at first they tried to like talk behind my back in Japanese. I'm like, I can understand you. Like, don't do that. And then I think when I said that, they were like, oh, and they got angrier. So it was like a whole thing. So, but yeah. But thankfully that was the past, and I hope they're doing well now. Hopefully they're evolving as ministers. I don't know. I think, yeah, they graduated. I'm pretty sure. So sorry, there's like a bug on the floor. There's so many bugs in the heat of mine right now. They're coming to pray. But yeah. But so yeah, so I went into a lot of topics with Queen and stuff in Konko, but I think it's good. I don't know. Oh, sorry. Alex says, I wonder if they had a crisis of being shown up, especially for those who were there to inherit. Probably, honestly. Like, I don't know. I don't know the psychology behind it, but maybe, or like maybe they had like a lot of like deep down like expectations, like, yeah, maybe they were like, oh, like who's this person? Like they don't know as much as I do, but they're acting like they know a lot, and like I don't know. I never really understood like it's extremely difficult for me to understand like the like weird like social hierarchy, social cues stuff. Like I really like I genuinely need to like process like how all of that works, because it just doesn't come naturally to me. Because inherently like it doesn't make sense to me, because like I think it makes more sense to just treat like everybody, with respect, because we're all the same humans. And yeah, so I don't know. I don't really get the whole like that sort of thing. But when I try to think about it and I try to understand where they're coming from, and like why do they think that way, and like what does it mean for them, even if I don't like genuinely understand why they act that way, but I try to understand and I try to show them like another way. Like they don't have to think that way. Like I'm not trying to like show them up or like say I'm better or whatever, anything like that. I'm just here for my own training, and they're there for their training, and that's it. So yeah. Lupin says, speaking of spiders and Ishin, oh my god, seriously, like I don't know. It was like there's like a big bug, and now it's gone. I don't know. I'm scared. I'm scared. It's okay. So he says, really good information. Thank you. Oh, thank you. No, thank you too. Hi, Cerise. Thank you for coming. I'm glad to explain. Vadim says, my dog was going crazy, so seems like I missed something interesting. Oh no, we're all getting distractions today. Someone's throwing the distractions at us to practice Ishin, I think, because there's so many things happening. Oh, hello, Michael. Don't worry. Welcome, welcome. I have to finish at 2 at least, and it's 1:15, so we still have a bit of time, but I have to be careful of the time today. Sorry, I'm actually pretty scared. Like I'm scared it's gonna like crawl under the table. For me, it's okay. It's fine. It's fine. Kami-sama onegaishimasu. Like, but yeah. So I don't know if I have any more Gakuin stories. I do. I have lots of Gakuin stories, but I'm trying to like not, because I can like talk forever about Gakuin. So I'm trying to think about like what is good or not good to talk about. But something I did want to talk about today was basically like I guess it kind of ties into also why I was bullied at Gakuin. So like I was kind of naive because when I came into Gakuin, I like assumed everybody could like hear Kami-sama. Um, so like I assumed like everyone could hear Kami-sama and like feel Kami-sama. But I learned quickly that wasn't the case. And I naively like was talking about it as if it was like a normal thing. And I think that's also what got people kind of like looked at me weird or like thought I was like not being serious enough. Because to them, like Kami-sama was more like an abstract concept and not like a being you could actually like talk to. Like to them, like Kami-sama was like a existence that you like chant towards and do ceremonies towards, but not like you could actually like communicate towards. So I think that also kind of added to the animosity that they thought I was like trying to sound special or something. Meanwhile, I thought that like everyone already was like that level. So that was like a big misunderstanding. And um it started like a whole thing where it's like about like spiritual sense or like feeling the unseen world, I guess, and versus like how people saw Kami-sama as more like abstract like concept of like something you do rituals and ceremonies for, but it was like impossible to like actually like talk to them because only Kyoso-sama could do that. But I don't think that's the case because Kyoso-sama said like anybody could become Konko Daijin and like talk to Kami-sama. So yeah, so hold on, I'll get into that. But Vidim-san asked, have you actually visited Kandori Konko headquarters during Gakuin studies? Ah, yes, we did. So there was during Gakuin there was like different days for pilgrimages. So one day we did all the sacred areas in Konko Town, and the other day we went like to Okayama City, and the other day we went to Kibitsu Jinja, and we even went to Kurozumi Kyo headquarters as well. But we went to like a whole bunch of places, and Soga Jinja, and like an Inari Maruyama Inari Shrine. There were so many shrines and temples connected to Konko Faith and Konko Daiji-sama. So I went to them all. But yeah, we went to Kandori Konko headquarters, and I remember at that headquarters, we saw like Konko Daijin-sama's like walking stick, his howdy, and I can't remember now. I just remember the walking stick and the howdy because they were the ones that really like stuck out to me. And they put it on the tatami, and we got to see it. And the priest there, I don't remember who it was at the time because this was 10 years ago. This was 2015, actually 11 years ago. But he explained like the history of Kandori Konko and like the beliefs and the different traditions and how he had the artifacts of Konko Daijin Sama. And we got like a little tour of the Hiromai, but it was very small. Like it wasn't small, but like it was like a shrine. So like there was the main worship hall, and then there was like the grounds outside of the headquarters. And we got a tour of all of that area. But that was it. So it was a really good experience. And we had he talked for a long time. It was like the whole lecture in the worship hall. So he started from the beginning, like the history of Kandori Konko and the connection between Konko Kyo and Kandori Konko, and the whole story of like how they became separate faiths and all that stuff. So yeah, it was really good, and I hope they still do that for the Gakuin students. But as far as I know, they still do. They still meet. They do the tour at Kandori Konko headquarters. Yeah, so it was really good. I actually had no idea it even existed until I was in Gakuin. Like I had no idea what it was. And it was funny because I remember that I saw the flag of Kandori Konko Kyo on the way to Konko Town. And I was like, what's that? It looks just like Konko, but it's like slightly different. And then I realized later in Gakuin because they took us there. I'm trying to see if I can find a picture of it, of the flag. Um but it was nice to see. Um, I think it was. Oh yeah. This picture. Wait, I'll just link the page. Sorry. So it looks like this. And you can see like it looks like a shrine. It doesn't look super big in the picture, but it was pretty big. Like it was bigger than Yokosuka Shrine. So it was nice, and you can see the flag there. And I saw like the Kandori Konkokyo sign, and I was like, "What is that a Hiromai?" Like I was so confused. But yeah, we went to the Hiromai, and it was super. Or not Hiromai, sorry. We went to the shrine, and it was super good. I'm trying to see. There might be a picture of Gakuin say in the shrine. Maybe that's something I have to search later. Because I know that sometimes they take pictures of the Gakuin students, like what they do, and there might be one of them in the headquarters. But yeah, it was nice to go. But yeah, I think I have to look back at my diary because I think I wrote about it, and what we saw specifically. So I have to check later. But yeah, so yeah, they were like, they were confused because I said you could talk to Kami-sama and stuff. So what I kind of want to talk about a little bit was like, how do you how do you get started, I guess, or like how do you feel things more spiritually, I guess, because a lot of people a lot of people don't believe in spiritual things as much. Like for a lot of people, like spiritual things are very like abstract or like maybe not even real or more. I don't know how to explain it, but you know what I mean. So, and a lot of people think like to feel anything spiritual, you have to be like born with it, or like it's just a gift to you, or like you just go through an experience and it happens. But honestly, that wasn't my experience entirely. So like I think I told you guys about like I had like a near death experience where I drowned once, and like I came back to life, and I had that experience where I saw myself out of my body. But after that I did see like a lot of like spiritual things. Like I guess you could say like I would say like auras around people, or like spirits, or like energy stuff. I don't know. After that incident, but like to me, I thought like something was wrong with my brain. So like I've always been a little bit of a skeptic, like growing up. And the reason for that is because like I thought like if things were really spiritual, like, you know, we should have more evidence for it or something like that. I don't know. I was a little bit more of a like skeptic back then, like before everything happened, right? So I just thought something was wrong. But there was a period of time where like I just ignored it, and then by the time I was like 14, like in the tail end of middle school to like high school, I started to go to like doctors, like physical doctors, therapists, psychologists, etc., trying to find out like what was wrong with me. I even went to like ophthalmologist, like the eye doctor, to see like something's wrong with my eyes. Um, but so I had to go through a lot of testing, a lot of psychological analysis. Like I went through all of it because I wanted to understand what I was seeing and what was happening, because I genuinely thought I was going crazy. Like I thought I had brain damage from drowning. Like I'm not joking. Like that sounds bad, but I genuinely thought like, because I heard that if you drown and you like die from it, basically you lose pulse, like you get brain damage. And like jokes aside, um I'm okay. Like thankfully, like maybe I do have a little bit of brain. No, I'm joking. But no, like jokes aside, like I'm pretty okay. But I thought back then I had brain damage, and like there was something wrong with me, that I was like having like a mental illness or like a problem with my brain, or like something was wrong, right? So I went through like all the doctors, like I had like CT scans, MRIs, like all everything, like blood tests, like I don't know, it was just too much, right? Um, like eye exams, I had like multiple too. Like it wasn't just one, like the one test. I had like multiple every single time at like different doctors because I really genuinely wanted to find out what was wrong. Um, but eventually, like they couldn't really find anything why I would be like experiencing these things. So that's when I tried to turn to like spirituality to understand what was happening to me because I was like, yeah, because I was like, well, if like the doctors, like the psychiatrist, psychologist, physiologist, like all these specialists, ophthalmologists, neurologists, et cetera, if none of them can find out what's wrong with me, aside from like being diagnosed with like CPTSD, like all the other stuff, but I didn't have dissociative identity disorder. I didn't have schizophrenia. I didn't have there's this thing where it's like if a tumor is pressing on your eye, like it causes flashes. I didn't have that. I didn't have any issues in my brain, um, like like function wise. My hearing was normal. Everything was normal, etc. Knock on wood, thankfully. But it was thankful, but it was also very scary because then I didn't know why I was seeing all this stuff and like hearing these things and like experiencing all these things, right? So I turned to spirituality because I was like, okay, well, if it's not a physical reason, then there must be some other thing that can explain this because um like because then like I didn't want to believe I was the only person going through this. And I heard like there was similar things in spiritual traditions. So I tried to look it up, right? And I found like stuff like about like back then it was like a lot of witchy stuff, like like new age witchy stuff. And I really didn't like it because it felt so like insincere. Like it felt kind of like I don't know how to explain it. I think you guys know what I mean. Like I call it like woo, like it's very woo, like they make it like a whole like I'm the chosen one, the indigo seed children, like we have the power granted to us by the people from Atlantis, like that kind of thing. And I hated that because I was like, I don't want to be these people, like 'cause I really didn't like that. Like it felt so weird. So I was like exhausted, and yeah, new age people like I was so exhausted because I was like reading through all these pages on the internet, and like and I was so angry because like there was this one page that was like I was trying to find out like what does it mean when you like see like energy or something. There was this one page that said like, do you know blue light phenomenon where it's like if you look at a blue sky and you see the white blood cells moving around in the blue sky and they look like little sparkles. They're like wee and they're moving around. So that's not like spirits, that's just your white blood cells reflecting in your retina. um and that I saw that, but that wasn't what I was trying to find out. But one of those pages was saying that like that phenomenon was like seeing spirits and energy, and I was like, oh my god. Because they were like, if you ever see sparkles in the blue sky, those are the angels talking to you, and they're giving you a message from the heavens. And I'm like, oh my god. I was like, no, this is like a known thing that happens. But what I was seeing was like this weird like vortex of light and in the sky, and it was like shimmering, and I still see it, but I only see it if there's like a forest. It's so weird. Like I don't even know how to explain it. But there's like if you're in a forest and you look up like above the trees, there's kind of this like shimmering like it goes like this. I don't know. And anyway, I was trying to figure out what that was because the doctor and the ophthalmologist couldn't figure out what I was talking about. And I even tried to like draw it. I tried to like put it in Photoshop. Like I tried to explain this as best as I could. And they told me about blue light phenomenon. Sorry, I don't even know if I'm saying this right. Blue. blue field entopic phenomenon or something. And then there's also visual snow, and I have visual snow too. It looks like everything's like staticky. Anyway, there's a lot of different visual phenomenon. There's also like migraine auras and things like that, but it wasn't like any of these things. So I was like, oh my god! But these like websites were like explaining all of these known phenomena as like angels and spirits and like aliens or something, and I was like, oh my god! I was like, I'm never gonna find an answer, you know, because there's just so much like messiness in the whole like spiritual scene. So I was having trouble there. Michael says, "Yeah, that means I see angels all the time. I'm special." Yes, exactly. No, no. I wish. I wish. I mean, you could say the white blood cells are angels in a way. You know, they protect their body. So, but you know, it's not like actual like external spirits or things like that. Honestly, sorry, I'm like thinking about it. But honestly, I think what happened probably was that like whatever happened when like my theory is that my mitama no kami like left my body and then it came back and it like reconfigured however the mitama no kami is configured to the body. Maybe something went wrong or like a wire went loose on that end. So like whatever is happening between the sensory input from the mitama and the sensory input from the brain, maybe there's some like crossed or like loose wires. And I don't really know, but probably something like that. Um, but but anyway, what I was going through this whole thing, like trying to go from a scientific approach because I was trying to understand like why is all this happening, right? And that led me to I kind of got out of new age stuff and into like older traditions. Like I felt like reading deeper into Buddhism and reading deeper into like ancient religions as well. And those ancient religions and Buddhism doesn't really go into like seeing visual phenomena or like hearing things too much. Like I wasn't hearing voices, but like you know, I don't know how to explain it, but like you would like I don't know how to explain it, but like it's not like hearing voices, but like if you ever come across like someone was walking by and like sometimes you could kind of like their thoughts or their like feelings would kind of like brush into your mind. It's kind of like knowing how someone feels because you can feel their like anxiety or their anger, but it was like being able to kind of like translate that into like a word. So that was weird. I don't know. I say that was weird because it's kind of calmed down now. Like the more closer I am to Kami-sama, it's calmer. But like back then, it was like so out of control. It was like affecting my life and like affecting my school because I could not focus on school and my grades were really bad and I failed math because it was just too much happening and there was no grounding. You know, there was no like grounding situation. Um, oh, Alex is put together back together without using all the screws found originally. No, exactly, exactly. That's what it feels like. Oh my god. But I think my point is with this whole story is that like I don't think you need an experience like I went through to connect spiritually because ultimately like what made me end up connecting spiritually was was when I was going through the research of everything that was happening to me and I found like information about like ancient religions and ancient traditions that people used to practice and seeing how like the ancient people back then were doing rituals that were like more connected and more understanding of like a spiritual world or like the unseen world. It kind of made me feel more like grounded because I was like, okay, this is not like something unusual or something that like only I'm going through, but it's something that people have gone through throughout history, right? And that kind of like made a connection or like a link to me And then that got me to trying to understand deeper. And the way I was able to understand deeper is because I wanted to understand deeper, and I was asking like deities to help me understand deeper. So it wasn't like something that was like given to me, because even if I didn't have any of those experiences, if I just started from like reading about the ancient traditions and then asking to be taught and guided about them, I think it would be the same result, honestly, because it starts with the person seeking the knowledge themselves. So, like, one of the first traditions I got into actually was like alchemy, because like, you know, like alchemy is a whole thing. But and like, how did I get into alchemy? Because it went from like secret societies to their origins to alchemy to like Hermes Trismegistus to like Hermes himself. So it was like a whole like pathway. I was going down a rabbit hole, and like I learned like alchemy wasn't just like about like the chemistry, but it was like a whole spiritual kind of thing. Like turning the base metal into gold was like enlightenment, basically, like turning your regular soul into like an enlightened soul that was like close to the divine. So there was this whole like thing I was going through, and this was like by the time I was in university. So while I was in university, I was like researching all this stuff. Well, no, actually, it was, yeah, no, it was in high school, and then at the end of high school, I met Konko, but I didn't really participate in Konko till like a few months later. And then I started participating in Konko more. And then from there, I was trying to balance my understanding in Konko, but then going deeper into like mystical traditions. And then I got into alchemy in high school and university. Sorry. Michael says Wicca to Hermeticism is a pretty common way. I have a couple of friends that went this way. Oh, yes. Oh, that's good actually. Because Hermeticism is more like deeper than Wicca, because Wicca is kind of like, I don't have to say, we all know. So it's kind of good to go back to like the more ancient traditions, the origins of where things came from, and learning it from there. But I think I was just like it was crazy because for me, like Konko at the time, in high school, at the end of high school, it was more like, okay, this is the path to take to like how do I live my daily normal life, right? Together with Kami-sama. And then the like deeper, like the spiritual stuff was like separate to me because it didn't have to do with the physical life here. It had to do with like something unseen or like spiritual, right? So I kind of separated them, and then I kind of did like a full circle where I realized like, oh, like the spiritual and the unseen world is like part of the physical world because it's all like Kami-sama. It's all like the universe. So then I found a more like grounded, balanced way to understand things. And that's why like now I'm not like plagued by like so many craziness, like crazy things. I think like it's kind of harmonized in my brain and my mitama, and it's kind of like grounded thanks to Kami-sama, like connecting with Kami-sama. So I don't have to like um be afraid of like random craziness. Like it's just like normal. but but I think again, like it all starts from the person themselves, like seeking. I remember there was like a phrase, I don't remember exactly, but it was like knowledge comes to those who seek it. So if you actually seek the knowledge, then it will come to you, right? But it can't come to you if you don't actively try to look for it. So if people think like, oh, I'm just gonna have like a spiritual connection and spiritual knowledge just by doing nothing, like even for me, like even though I did nothing or like nothing, well, I had something happen to me when I drowned, but if I didn't do anything after that, I would still be just lost, like lost in a weird, strange, uncomfortable world. But because I tried to seek the knowledge and because I tried to understand more, I was given the answers through that search. So whether or not I drowned or not, I think the important part was like searching for it. You know, the important part was wanting to learn more, was making the effort to learn more. I think that's the important part. A lot of people say like, "Oh, I never had like a spiritual experience, or I never had an interest or a calling or anything like that." But I generally don't think like you need one. I think it's just if you make the decision to search for it, and if you make the decision to find out more, then the knowledge will come to you, because you made that choice, because you started to walk on the path. And I think maybe it's something a lot of like spiritual people miss. They don't realize that they are actually walking on the path to learn more. A lot of times I think like, oh, it's just coming to me. But the fact of the matter is like we're always making a conscious choice to go on that path and to understand more. And I think that's what really makes the connection. And it's the same thing with wanting to connect to Kami-sama. Like, how we connect to Kami-sama deeper is because we make that choice and we want to connect deeper. So we move towards that and we put in the effort to connect to them more. It doesn't just like come out of nowhere, right? So it's always from the effort. And even when I think about like Konko Daijin-sama's life, like he was the one putting in the effort even from the beginning. Like since he was a child, he was always going to the shrines and the temples of his town. Like he was like they called him pious bunji, like the devout bunji, because he would always go to the shrines and the temples, and he was like very faithful in the kamis and the buddhas. And that decision, that choice to be faithful, to go to the shrines, to go to the temples, to understand more about the divinities, that was already the path he was taking from the beginning to become close to Kami-sama. And even when he got his like illness, when he almost died, he was always thinking about Kami-sama. He was thinking like, what offense did I cause? What did I do that led me to this situation? Like he didn't just like it didn't just happen to him, and then he didn't just like you know what I mean. So what I mean by that is like the divine connection didn't just happen out of nowhere. It came from a place where he was already someone who was actively trying to connect to the divine and the spiritual world. Like, and what I mean by that is like he was praying to the Buddhas, he was praying to the kamis. As a kid, he could have just ignored it all. He could have just not gone to the shrines or the temples. He could have just focused on the secular world of farming. And then when he got sick, he turns to the gods and Buddhas, like from how it goes for many stories. But for him, like he was already starting to try to reach out to the kami and the Buddhas. So I think it always starts from there. It starts from us making that first step to connect and putting in that effort to keep connecting, and wanting to learn more, wanting to understand more. Because again, like even if something happens to you, you like it, I could have like again, if even though I drowned, I could have just not sought anything. I could have just lived with it. But because I searched, I was given answers. So I think that's important to remember, and not just like not wait for it to come to you, but go look for it. I think that's what's important. What I want to say. So yeah, I don't know if I explained this right, but I think that's important, especially if you want to connect to Kami-sama. It's like Kami-sama will always try to connect to us, but if we don't try it as well, it won't happen. But it's easier for us as a human to reach out and connect, than Kami-sama trying to reach us. Even though we're kind of like focused on our humanness lives. I don't know how to explain it. But I think that's what makes the modern world kind of scary. Because, we're always taught like, there's no such thing, and these things are just like in everyone's head. And the gods are just like fictional characters people made up to explain things in the world, etc., etc. Or like ghost stories are just like people's imagination, and like you've heard it all, right? And I'm like, I understand, like sometimes that's true. Okay, bye Alex, thank you so much for coming. Bye bye. And like sometimes that's true, but it's important to think about, like, what if it's not? Like, what if there is like more to the world, and then you can search and find your answer, and if it's yes or no. But I think making that step to find out is important. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say for today. And there's probably more to say about this too, but I should go to sleep earlier. And I think that was a good place to end. I don't know if anyone has any more like questions or comments. I'd be happy to answer. And I'm still scared about that bug I saw, but I'm sure it's fine. But yeah, I don't know. And as far as what I've discovered from my journey, uh, honestly, is that the difference between the spiritual world and the physical world, there's not really much difference at all, really, like at the core of it. The only difference is like, the material, like the physical, the physics, the limitations, the system of how this all comes to be. But in terms of like, how do you treat how do you treat deities, or how do you treat spirits? It's like, it's honestly the same as like how you treat another person. It's not really like, it's like like just basic respect. Don't overthink things. And honestly, whatever is happening in the spiritual world is probably connected to this world. Everything's very intertwined, and it's not like that extravagant as some new age stories might say. At least in my experience, like I never see anything like Atlantis or something like that, or like Planet Nibiru, or like, I don't know, other realms like that. I mean, I guess like other realms exist, but they're not like mystical different places. It's like layers. I don't know how to explain it. Like, so for example, like if you go to Inariyama on Fushimi Taisha, that's like one layer, like a physical world, and then maybe in like the unseen world, there's like more depths to that particular spot, and it's like more existence that's not limited by the physical world. But it's not like, I don't know, it's not like it's completely separate. It's not like spiritual world, physical world. It's like two sides of the same coin. So I don't know. In my experience, it was pretty grounded, more than I expected. And yeah, so, but everyone sees their own perspectives. Everyone understands their own knowledge, right? Like it's the parable of the elephant. Like, I don't know if you guys ever heard this parable, but there's this. I'm just gonna end on this. Sorry, I promise I'll stop yapping. But there's a story. It's called the parable of the elephant, and it's like there's these multiple blind men, and they're put in front of an elephant. And one person feels the nose, one person feels the ears, one person feels the legs. And at the end, they're like, "Oh, so what is this creature?" And one person says, "Oh, it's long like a snake," and one person says, "It's strong like a tree trunk," and one person says, "It's thin like leather." And they're all technically saying different things, but they're all describing the whole, right? So they were going to argue, saying like, "No, I know what I felt, and I know what I understand. Like, you're lying, you're lying." And they're like arguing, but the truth is, like, they didn't have to argue, because the elephant is all of those things, and they just saw each part, because the elephant's so big that everyone could only feel just a little part of the elephant. So it's kind of like that. I feel like in regard to like spiritual stuff, unseen stuff, that everyone will kind of have like a peace and like an understanding. And it's like everyone together has the whole picture. And even beyond, we might not see. but I think there's still like connections between them, but it's not like always the same all the time, and that's okay. Like we're not really gonna know until we actually pass away. So yeah. But yeah, so that's it for today. And okay, bye, Vadim-san. Thank you so much for coming. And yes, Lupin says elephant's ear, something like that. Yeah, I think it's called that or something like that. But I really like that story anyway. It's a good story for like understanding spiritual experiences and different spiritual beliefs. It's good to show like everyone has their experiences and understandings, and it's not like one person is right and one person is wrong. Everyone has their own perspectives. So yeah. But yeah, thank you so much for today. Oh, Michael says, and then they come together and make a medieval elephant painting. Exactly. Where it's like wonky and like strange. Yes. Oh, the parable of the elephant and the blind man or something. Yeah, I think so too. Let me search it up. Hold on, really quick. Wait, let me search it up. Anyway, I first heard that in my world religions class in high school, and I was like, oh, I really like that, and I still remember it. The parable of elephants. I think the actual story, I don't. I think there's something about it that I don't like it as much. I don't remember, but the version I remember, I like it better. The princess. I think it's a Buddhist parable. Ah, yes, I think so too. Um, yeah, yeah. I think this is the whole thing. Wait, here we go. Yeah, yeah, or Hindu. Yeah, I'm not sure where it came from, but I think yeah, it says here the earliest versions of the parable of blind men and the elephant are found in Buddhist, Hindu, and Jain texts, and they discuss the limits of perception and the importance of complete context. So yeah, I really like that story. Um, I think it's good. Oh yeah, but it's interesting. I don't know. Sorry, I got lost in thought. But yeah. So thank you, thank you so much for today. Okay, I'll leave for real now. I'm gonna get ready for bed and sleep and phew, get ready for tomorrow. But thank you for joining me for today. I hope it was good talks and hopefully some new perspectives. If you have any again comments or questions, feel free to let me know anytime. So yeah, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Michael-san. Thank you, Rai-san. Thank you, Lupin. Thank you so much for coming too. Yes. Okay. And thank you everyone else who came and I didn't see in the comments. So yes. And say hi to Mr. Bug. I'll try to find him and say hi and hopefully escort him out of the building. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oyasumi, thank you so much. Oh, hello. Thank you. Okay. Bye bye for now. Bye. ありがとうございます。